Hello, everybody. It's nice to have you on the Beyond Grad Show. I'm Varun Gandhi. We have Sohan Sethi joining. We are going to talk about how he hires for data roles. So, this is about data analysts, data scientists, and any job seeker who wants to know how the scene is from the other side of the table. Thank you for joining, Sohan. And I would let you quickly introduce yourself before we get going.
Firstly, thank you so much for having me over here, Varun. I am so excited and congratulations for launching the Beyond Grad Show. We are so excited in the community, and yeah, let's make the best of things today. Hello, everyone. My name is Sohan Sethi. I'm currently working as a data analytics manager at Healthcare Service Corporation, and my work majorly involves around reporting and auditing healthcare data, which can sound boring, and at times it really is. But yeah, we we really try to keep work fun whenever possible. And at the very same time, I Monday to Friday I'm working as a data analytics guy, and on the weekends I try to share back my experience with the community and like work as a creator on LinkedIn and Instagram. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, and I'm really happy to dive deeper into my experience over here.
Awesome. I'll get going with the questions. If you are joining us on LinkedIn or YouTube, go in the LinkedIn or YouTube comments and just say hi and let us know where you're from. And if you are a data scientist, a data analyst, or a job seeker, we'd love to know more about you guys, whoever is tuning in. Again, you'll have to add a comment on LinkedIn, or if you are joining us from YouTube, comment on the YouTube live stream, and that's how we will see those here. Awesome. Sohan, let's dive in, man. I am curious to know how was the last hiring experience for you? And we'll dig deeper. What kind of role were you hiring for? Uh, Tell us more about that.
Absolutely. So I recently hired five people for the same role, but yeah, like we were building our team from scratch, and yeah, I was hired as a manager. So my job was to hire five analysts who can help grow the team and do our day-to-day work. So yeah, we hired five data analysts. Within our company, we had a different designation for them, which was like reporting and analytics analyst, which doesn't really sound nice. But yeah, having said that, we basically hired five data analysts recently, and had a great experience while doing that.
Awesome. When when you and let's say the decision makers in your company decided that you wanted to hire for these five roles,
Mhm.
what were the first few decisions you made internally
Hmm. Uh,
about who's the kind of person to hire, etc.?
Oh, absolutely. To begin with, we definitely circle back on the problems that we were trying to solve. Most importantly, we needed someone who was very good with the tech stack that we had in mind, like basically, which will help us audit our data sets. And yeah, we basically started from the problems that we had in mind. And most importantly, we not really wanted a young or a old team, but just a team that was very dynamic in nature, which could like work on evolving problems. And with AI coming into the picture and so much happening in the healthcare data space, we just wanted someone who can be very dynamic, very hands-on, very proactive, and just work together as a team. So yeah. A very specific tech stack in mind, and a very specific personality type, and then the years of experience and all of those things came later, but those were the initial things that we began with.
What happens behind the scenes? So you know you want to fill these five roles. You create a persona of the type of person you want, technically and culturally.
Mhm.
And then what happens next after that?
Oh, we have some very fun conversations with the HR that hey, we this is our requirement, and yeah, once the leadership and I decide upon hiring these people, we speak with HR, and I'm sure this happens like more majorly with every organization, like just one step here and there. But yeah, then the HR post the job opening, and as you can see, a data analyst job will open on LinkedIn, on Glassdoor, on our company website, and any platform. We can just name it. But yeah, we go from there, and I was a bit surprised, but not really exaggerating the numbers. I know for a fact that they were definitely in the thousands, the number of applications that we received, and this was just within 3 days, and we had to close the job because hey, it was really getting overwhelming for the HR to shortlist the number of candidates that were coming our way. So yeah, we just stopped the job opening over there, and that was plenty for us, honestly. And on top of that, when you count internal candidates who then you get to review as well, because this is just the external ones from LinkedIn and elsewhere. But we also open the job opening on our internal company portal through IJPs, and yeah, people get to apply from there as well. So overall, it was a very competitive mix of people. We got one of the best candidates from the top companies, whether it was FANG, MBB, internally, so on and so forth. And yeah, after that, it was just reaching out to them and scheduling interviews.
So I want to take a pause here. So you got thousands of applicants
Hmm.
and you had to close it in 3 days for five positions you were filling.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned that there are multiple ways a person can apply, right? There are internal candidates, there are people who come in through referrals, there are people who apply online at these different portals. I think I lost Sohan. Let me see if I can add him back. Okay,
Yep. There we are.
do I see? All right. Uh, happens, right? Text. And I'm doing this live, so this is fun.
Watch
I
LinkedIn live without any technical errors. So
exactly. So then is there in because there are thousands and thousands of applications, this feels like an emergency room, right? Where people are coming in. There are so many people coming in. Emergency rooms have something called triage,
mm,
where based on the severity of the symptoms, they kind of take people, they line them up and then they take people accordingly.
mhm.
Is there an internal triage that happens in companies when there are thousands of applicants? There are people who have referrals, internal candidates, online people who applied online. What does the internal triage look like in such situations? Who do you speak to first? How do you discern whom to kind of interview?
Oh, well, I just like making sure that I'm not about like definitely I'll be sharing my experience over here, but yeah, just making sure that to be inclusive of all the other similar hiring processes that I've heard as well. It
Yes.
majorly involves the hiring manager and the HR executive who's actually putting those job postings out there. So the hiring manager will just give a very clear understanding of the person that we want to hire. That hey, this is the tech stack. These are the key skills that no matter what they have to have. These might like for example, they for a data analyst they should have SQL, they should have Power BI, Tableau, even Python is a plus depending upon the role that you're trying to fill. Also, you can let them know that hey, we need so many years of experience. We need experience in a specific industry. For example, if you're hiring for retail, you would need retail experience. For healthcare, healthcare experience. For finance experience works as well. So once the HR has a very clear understanding of okay, what am I looking for, then they can do their job much better, and then they can like just drill down through the list of candidates that they have. So like yeah, and they also have some certain filters that they can apply on the backend system as well. So yeah, just having said that, that really helps. And there could be a team of multiple HRs doing this, and then definitely the hiring manager is the one who's involved in that. There could even be cases where it could be the hiring manager and another senior member of the team who are hiring for a specific role. Depends upon what the requirement is, how big it is, how much workload is coming on the team. And yeah, once that is done, these are the key decision makers as to okay, this is the profile that I like. Let's shortlist them. Let's do a initial reach out to the person that are they available for an interview, what are the expectations, is there a match over there, and yeah, if things align, then it goes to the main process, which is like the initial hiring manager interview, and then a bunch of interviews follows after that.
So If we kind of put this thing in a capsule, like
Mm-hmm.
this part of hiring, right from you deciding on what you want to the number of applicants and reviewing the number of applicants, what
Right.
was the biggest challenge there for you and for the recruiters that were helping?
Oh, absolutely. Varun, it can be at times very tricky to, you would want that, hey, when I'm reviewing applicants, I just want like the cream of the people who are like, hey, working at Nvidia, Meta, like Amazon, and we did get so many of those candidates. But in no disrespect to anyone, I believe it was about finding the right fit that can actually help you in the role that you are hiring for, as compared to all the fancy titles that are available out there. And like everyone is excellent in their skill set, but the right skill set for you really matters a lot. So the biggest challenge over there was just figuring out that we have a list that is very clear in our minds. Is the person able to meet that list? Depending upon the kind of experience that they have. In healthcare, it's a very big plus if you have prior healthcare experience or some knowledge with healthcare systems, because it is an industry which is very, very into its own with all the terminologies and with all the things that are going in the background. And so, if that knowledge is there, that is a big help. Then, obviously, the kind of problems that you are trying to solve, you would need someone with that experience, whether it was working with, let's say, SQL and doing a specific part of the data cleaning or data pre-processing that you would need on your team. That is a big plus as compared to some other challenge that they were trying to solve in their previous role. So that really helps. Years of experience helps a lot, and you can only discern so much from a resume. And once you actually get them on the call, then there is a different part of their candidature that you assess over there as well. But yeah, coming back to the question, the biggest challenge was just making sure that what you have in mind, you are being very honest with yourself when picking the right candidate, and not having a bias in the kind of people that you're coming across over there.
You mentioned something about bias. There is also, like, I'm talking about in the generic sense because I don't want you to ask specifically about that particular
Mhm.
thing, and you may or may not be able to share that.
Mhm.
But do people who are applying for this internally and maybe with a referral, what kind of preference or what kind of leg up do they have in the application process?
Just speaking in a generic sense, I would say a big leg up. Not even kidding.
Okay.
If I was to hire someone tomorrow as well, no matter which organization I'm working for, without any just being completely honest with you, I would definitely prefer someone who is an internal candidate of like within the company. And I definitely have my reason for saying that is because you uh, save so much time on training a person in terms of like.
Oh, I think we are having some issues today.
Yes, I'm okay. We are back.
I think so.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, if that happens, please let me know. So yeah, the biggest thing over there is definitely the biggest reason over there is definitely that it really helps a lot. Not in like in terms of training someone to get on board and everything. That's definitely but there. But if let's say you and I are working for Amazon, and you wanted to hire me, it would save you so much time, right? Like, hey, Sohan is working within Amazon. He knows the culture that we are currently working with. He knows the internal systems. He knows who to reach out to if he has a problem tomorrow. He knows the problems that we've been solving. He knows what we have in mind, what are the problems that we'll be solving next year and the year after as well. And like, definitely, that really is a big, that really helps a lot whenever you're hiring someone, just in the terms of the knowledge that they already have. If they have spent like 2 or 3 years within the company, that's a big, big boost. But yeah, there definitely comes a time where you have to let go of that, and you need a separate tech stack or a skill set which is not really present within the people that you're hiring internally. So you reach out to others outside as well.
And then for people who are from the outside looking in, Do
Hmm.
referrals help?
Oh, of course. I would again being unfortunately being generic over here. Referrals definitely help in the sense that it helps your application to be flagged ahead of other people. Yeah, that's to put it simply. If there are 1,000 applications, and if I can see a referral, it would come to my eyes easily as compared to the 1,000 applications out there.
So it goes to show, right, where in this world of AI, where there are AI tools that are helping people apply for positions,
Mhm.
you can do that, but there are still other ways to get a leg up in the application process. I feel the internal move is the biggest underplay in the market, which is you may not like the function that you are doing or your company that you might not just like the job, but as soon as you see a different opportunity out there, start building relationships, start to see if there is a way to shift internally, and that can change your entire career trajectory. I'll
Mhm.
take a second here. I once took out a CTO of a Fortune 500 company out for lunch.
Mm.
Sohan knows me personally. He knows how much I like people to take people out for coffee and lunches. Uh, in that in that lunch, he said something that blew my mind. He was like, if you are near the lower side of the entire company pyramid,
Mhm.
you are actually at a benefit. Think
Mm.
of all these positions starting from your point. So, like an inverted pyramid, where you are at one point and all of these roles are going separate from you.
Mm.
Those are all roles that you can apply to.
Mm.
And companies, when they are making internal promotions, actually give preference to people who've played multiple roles in the organization because they have more visibility of how things are done. So, internally, if you are trying to move, you're trying to upskill, that can be a great place to be.
Absolutely. And just to add on to that, yeah, I 100% agree with your point over there, Varun. And the reason I say that is because after spending a couple of years in my current company, I saw that there is an opportunity internally, and I applied for it. I got the job, but it was at least 2 to 3 levels higher than the role that I was at when I was working in my previous role. If I was to switch externally, I would have to build, like, go up that ladder, which would have taken me like probably 5 to 6 years at least. But
Hmm.
directly jump from a senior role to a manager role within my company and just skip a couple of ladders over there. And if I was to move externally, I'll be starting from the manager role, not the senior level role. So that really helps a lot. And you're so right. It's an inverted pyramid, and like it's actually an inverted pyramid with a ladder that you can climb so fast internally.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. By the way, we did get an amazing comment from a LinkedIn user saying that these are amazing insights, and I'm going to get more out of Sohan by the end of this call. But please, if you have questions, add them. If you're seeing this live, that's the benefit of being here live, is that you can ask questions that Sohan or I can answer. So if you are here, put your question in the LinkedIn comment section or the YouTube comment section. That would be great. Cool. So now you've got a short list of people, right? There is a screening system where a recruiter or a hiring manager might be doing the screening. We can
Mhm.
come to everything on that side, but I want to hit the technical part first.
Mm.
So you mentioned that you were looking for a specific technical tool stack.
Right.
How did you test or validate people's proficiencies of this tech stack? Like, how did the technical interviewing work, and how did you test people?
Great question. To begin with, that's I like in any data role or in any analyst role. That's like the biggest thing that you need to test upon. Obviously, this my personal bias as a hiring manager is that I give equal importance to like the other aspects, like the soft skills as well, because I feel they are so important. You can definitely learn maybe like 20-30% of your technical skills. But in the interviews that I have also given, technical skills were the first thing that they tested me for. So coming to the question, I would say it depends upon the kind of tech stack that you want to test. For example, it is slightly difficult to test for visualization tools on an interview, because you don't have that kind of platform right now where you can do that. But at the very same time, if you want to test any of the data tools, or like SQL for that matter, or even Python, that makes the job very easy because they just need to code over there. So yeah, to begin with, you start with their basic understanding of what kind of experience that they have, how much, what are the challenges that they have solved, what kind of impact have they created in their previous roles, and to be fair to them, just basis on that, you asked further questions as to, okay, can you explain in more detail what was your specific impact with a specific problem that you solved in the previous role? And if you want to drill down deeper, then you can give them specific technical questions based upon that. If not, you can come prepared with a specific with a specific set of technical questions where you can ask them SQL queries. It could be joins, it could be Windows functions, it could be aggregate functions, and same for Python as well. You can ask them pandas, numpys, and maybe even like drill down even further. But yeah, you can just give them these questions, and depending upon how they answer, you can leave it at that. If you're still not very confident upon their technical capability, you can drill down even further as well. But in the interviews that I've taken, and the countless interviews which I've done in the past as well, a SQL question is a must, which definitely will be asked to you for the analyst role, whether it's in some cases business analyst, but 100% in a data analyst role. And depending upon the tech stack that is mentioned in the job description, you may be asked questions, probably about Tableau, about Power BI, your understanding of graphs, your understanding of visualization concepts, how do you create dashboards, so on and so forth. So yeah, there could be so many questions that actually go into the technical round when you are into it.
If you were interviewing for these kinds of roles, data analysts, data scientists, what would be the three things that you would prepare for these technical interviews? What would be the top three things? Because there can be endless, and
Hmm.
obviously they are specific to the type of role that you're going for. But
Right.
overall, what are the top three things to prepare for a technical interview?
So let me actually break them down by data analyst and by data scientist. For
Okay.
data analyst, the top three things that I'll prepare. One, no doubt about that, SQL. If someone wants free resources, you can definitely check out Lead Code Top 50. Just Google Lead Code Top 50 SQL questions, and there is a list of the top 50 questions that comes up. In close to 20-30 technical interviews that I've given, at least 80 to 90% of the questions came from those 50 questions which I practiced. So that's a great resource for anyone who's wanting to get into data analyst roles. SQL number one. Second would be Tableau, Power BI, depending upon the tool that you are more comfortable with. I've seen cases, or even I've seen in my interviews as well, that if someone was proficient with Tableau, and
Oh, are we back?
yeah, we are back. So and inverted, I guess, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So yeah. So if someone was proficient in Tableau, and we are hiring for Power BI, definitely that is a tool which is really similar to Power BI as well. So you get that leeway over there. But yeah, any visualization tool, either of these two, would be the second one for a data analyst. And third one is actually very job specific, but it could definitely be Python. It could be I've seen cases where an understanding of R as a programming language has been asked as well, because some companies work on that specific platform. So Python or R could be the third thing that is a much needed skill for a data analyst. So to again say that SQL, Tableau, Power BI, and Python or R. So that's data analyst. Going to the data scientist side of things, it gets, I wouldn't say complex, but very selective, because there are so many like conjunctions between data analyst and I'm sorry. Okay. So there are so many conjunctions between data analyst and like there is machine learning. Now there is AI into a data scientist role. So, but yeah, my top three would be any high level programming language. That's definitely Python in most cases. It could be R, but mostly Python. Secondly, database knowledge. Again, SQL is a must. And third would be machine learning and like statistics at a very high level. So yeah, those would be my three, and then you can complement that with Tableau and Power BI in some cases. But yeah, Python, machine learning, statistics, and database knowledge. So those will be my top three skills for each role.
That's perfect. I think that gives a template to whoever is going after these roles as to what they need to keep in mind. That is absolutely perfect. I do have a very interesting question come through in the chat as well. We'll go to that.
Mhm.
Before that, I want to talk about something interesting, which is even when you're testing people's technical know-how, in the technical interview rounds, are you seeing something else in them as well? Are you trying to decipher something else? And what is that?
Absolutely. It's a combination of two things, but just a very clear answer would be your problem solving capability and how well are you able to make me understand about the problem that you are trying to solve. So the problem that you're solving and how well can you communicate the problem that you're trying to solve. Any technical interview, you get a set of problems that really tests your thinking capacity and how you approach a specific problem, how clear can you break it down, what's the level of granularity that you can get to. So those are a few things that we test. So yeah, a problem solving mindset and how well you are able to explain that problem is something that really helps. Something that I initially used to struggle with is this exact thing, that I knew the problem that was in my head, but just explaining that to the other person was a challenge, which really got that definitely lost me a few opportunities initially. But what I used to do is like initially I was, as soon as okay, Varun is giving me a SQL problem, I'll quickly dive right into it. But sooner, like very soon, I realized that okay, once you get a problem, you don't really have to dive right into it. Take at least a minute or at least 30 seconds and ask the interviewer, okay, do I have any follow-up questions? Do I want to understand what is the type of database that I'm working with? What is the type of I don't know, constraints that I have? How do I work around this data set? Is it am I and the interviewer thinking on the same level? Is it the same problem that we're trying to solve over here? So that really helped a lot. That brought a lot of clarity in, and that also brought a lot of clarity in the problems and how I solve them. And that gave confidence to the interviewer as well. And even when I was stuck at a specific point, I could just be honest, like, okay, this is the approach that I am thinking. Do you suggest I should go ahead with that? And 9 out of 10 times, the interviewer was very kind. Okay, I feel this is correct. Even if not, why don't Sohan you think from this angle? And that really helped me pass that interview. So, yeah, that's what we are testing in a technical round.
I think I, as somebody who is in this field, would love an example. Do you have an example? Let's say a question,
Hmm.
and they know how to solve that technical question, but you're testing them outside of their technical skills into something like a communication skills, something like how are they able to share what they know.
Hmm.
Can you give us an example, a good and bad example of that?
Absolutely. So a very basic data example would be, let's assume you have two tables. Table A has customer data. Table B has orders data. Okay, and let's assume each of these tables has probably 5 rows. So 5 rows with like uh, customers, Varun, Sohan, and so on and so forth, and the kind of orders that they order. Varun ordered an iPhone, Sohan ordered an iPad, so on and so forth. So if I was to ask Varun, like Varun, why don't you do an inner join of between both of these data sets, there would be a primary key, like basically something which is common in both of these tables. So why don't you do a inner join? And okay, if Varun was asking me, a good example of this would be, uh, okay, Varun, do you like my first response would be, is there any constraints that I am missing in this scenario? For example, are there any keys that I'm missing? Are there any constraints on the data set that I can't query the data by? So that would be something which has to be the first question. What is the level of complexity, what's the granularity of data? Can I dive deeper as to what's being already mentioned to me? So that will be the second question. The third question can be, yeah, like those were the two things that at least I'll begin with. And once I do that, I'll just write the query, and based upon that, Varun will ask me a second set of questions. Okay, Sohan, once you have this data and you have another third table and you want to combine this data with that table, how would you do that? Let's say there was orders table, there was customers table, there could be yeah, something like an order ID, and I have to find if this customer is tied with that order ID. How do I do that? So instead of me directly diving deeper, I may ask a couple of more clarifying questions. Okay, Varun, do you think this is the column which is available in this table and that table as well? And based upon that, like you can take it away from there. But that could be a good example. But a bad example definitely would be, I directly query. I don't think about the third table that could be coming my way as well. I don't have any constraints in my mind. I am probably querying on the wrong columns and getting a wrong output as well, and not really being communicative with the interviewer over here, not giving him any clarity as to what my thought process is going to, and directly coming up with an answer which probably could be the wrong answer in this case. So yeah, that would be an example that I would use in that scenario.
So, in a way, you are asking clarifying questions that help you write the query. But even during clarifying questions, you are putting like credibility markers that you know what to see, what to account for, what are the different keys that are missing, what are the constraints. So you are in a way sharing more of your technical acumen, but using like plain English or using a conversational interview style.
Absolutely. And most importantly, just like putting the best practices out there that, hey, if I am asked to do this job, this is the correct set of, I like, this could be the procedure or this could be the steps that need to be followed, as compared to, I don't know, following a wrong procedure and just coming up with a wrong answer. So probably demonstrating my best practices as to how I can get that data and probably get that in like probably two steps lesser as compared to another analyst that is interviewing for the same role. So maybe that helps a lot.
Awesome. There is a question we have from um, Ash Ashani Ashani Sinha. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. She talked about a technical interview. She has a technical interview question. For data scientists for Python, should we focus on DSA or just NumPy and Pandas?
That's definitely one of the easiest question. Aishani, firstly, yeah, if you have if you have an interview coming up, all the best to you for that. For data scientist roles specifically, NumPy and Pandas could be the beginning where you can start from, but you definitely have to take it a step further, where you're implementing NumPy and Pandas, cleaning the data set, you are scaling the data, then you are definitely building models on top of that. So I would begin with NumPy and Pandas and follow a end-to-end machine learning like methodology over there. But yeah, just to answer the question right there, DSA is probably much less required in a data scientist role and much more required in a software engineer role. But yeah, preparing for a data scientist, begin with NumPy and Pandas, but follow the end-to-end cycle that you need for building a model over there.
Awesome. So there is a hierarchy there where you want to make sure that you understand NumPy and Pandas before you go into data sets.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Definitely want to go into a different. area of the interviewing. So you mentioned 50% is the technical skills, 50% are core human skills. I definitely want to dive deep there. Before that, I think we have another question from Ashni, which is on the application side, which is, do referrals on the portal help, or should we ask person referring us to directly speak with the recruiter or hiring manager? Oh, we're
Give me
going to
back.
have you go in and
Give
out
me back.
all the
Yeah.
time, I think.
Okay. So, yeah, do referrals help on the portal? Yes, they do. And should we speak to the recruiter or hiring manager for a resume to get noticed? Aishani, that's actually a great practice if that is something that can be done from your end. In my unfortunate experience, like most of the times when I asked the referrer, they did not really advocate me to the level that they would speak to the hiring manager. But if you have such a strong connection, that can even get your application noticed much more as compared to directly applying on a referral portal, because that now you have an advocate within the company who can actually flag your application or speak with the HR or the hiring manager like, hey, this is a great candidate. I can advocate for their skills, which will probably give them a chance of an interview. So yeah, if you have that kind of a strength in that referral, definitely go for it. That helps a lot.
I will concur because the one thing I tell my mentees is that there are two types of referrals. There is a low touch and then there is an advocate. A low touch is somebody who would give you their referral ID or refer you internally for a particular opening. Good to have, much better than cold applications and stuff like that. So that is still a good to have. What is great to have is an advocate, which is somebody who will physically move or virtually move behind the scenes to get you seen, to keep the hiring team accountable also, whether they've seen this candidate or not. So that is the ultimate. So there are levels to this game, and the ultimate level is to get an advocate.
Absolutely, yes.
Awesome. So, again, anybody who's on the stream watching live, this is the benefit. If you have a question, just add a question in the comment section of LinkedIn or YouTube, wherever you are signing in from. Let's go to the other part of the equation. So, if you had to say how much was the technical part of the interviewing and how much was the non-technical part of the interviewing when you were hiring for 5 roles? What
Mhm.
was the importance? I know you already mentioned 50%, but tell me from the time perspective, how much time was spent in each domain?
I would say at least 70% of the time was spent just assessing the technical skills of a candidate. And yeah, for good reasons, you would have multiple tech stacks that you are assessing someone on, and you need to go back and forth. At times, you don't really get the clarity that you need in terms of the candidate's answers. So you probably give them a follow-up question based upon that, and the cycle just keeps on going. So yeah, definitely 70% for the technical assessment. But I when I give it importance, I would give it 50-50, because the rest 30% is equally important, if not more. If it is clear from your experience that, hey, this is a stellar candidate in terms of their technical skills, uh, you are making the hiring manager's job easier by demonstrating that experience. But if you are not able to demonstrate equal proficiency in your interpersonal skills, that can actually act as a disadvantage. And there have been cases where in more technical candidates we see that they could be less well spoken, and for good reasons, right? Because your job doesn't require you to be out there speaking with people a lot. You were mostly number crunching and working on data, but it was equally important in my experience, at least.
How did you test for it?
Oh, absolutely. Um, the best example I can give for that, Varun, is probably not the best example. But if you want to make a new friend, you would want to make sure that you are you feel nice with them, right? You feel happy with them. You feel good around them. You feel that you have similar skills, and so on and so forth. However, when you are hiring someone, you are probably going to spend at least 5x more time with them as compared to any of your best friends out there, because you are working with this person day in and day out, solving complex problems. Your livelihoods depend upon each other, right? If I am not doing my job well, it will affect that person, and vice versa. So the best, I would say, test for that would be, you can have behavioral questions, you can have scenario based questions, but most importantly, you need someone who can explain things with a lot of clarity, who can who can be a great problem solver, who can explain the impact that they have had in their previous organization with a lot of clarity. They can discern problems very clearly. They are able to communicate well. They have at times I've seen people, we can, there is someone with an X factor that you know that this person is a very easy person to be around. So those are a few skills that you just need to observe, and scenario based questions can actually help a lot with that.
Is there a scenario based question or two that you have asked that really separated people from each other? Like, is there a particular question?
So okay, let me answer that in two parts. The most basic scenario based questions that I have been asked, and I have asked as well, are actually a couple of them, which is, how do you manage deadlines, and like if you have a very important project coming up and you are working on multiple things over there, how do you manage deadlines? And the second one is again a very generic one, which is like, if you have a disagreement within the team and you want to take approach A, the other person wants to take approach B, how do you come to a win-win situation, and how do you tackle that? I've been asked that plenty number of times. I've been asking that some good number of times as well. But that really helps me understand how do you tackle situations. What's your level of emotional intelligence over there? How well, how easy can you make the other person feel? How well are you able to work with others? So those two questions you can expect people to be asked in their own interviews. But coming to a personal front, and I hope no one, or maybe why not, but if anyone who might interview with me in the future, you can definitely prepare for this one question, which is, how have you ever experienced failure in the past? If yes, would you be willing to share about that experience? How did you overcome that? And most importantly, what did that teach you? The thing, and I ask this to every single person that I interview, or even just someone, if I want to add that person to a very close circle of mine, I would definitely ask them this question, because more than communication, more than how they make me feel, this is a question which tells me about their character, as to how, when times are going to be tough, and definitely in any corporate structure they will be, how do you overcome situations? How do you look at them? Do you give up? Do you learn from them? Do you maybe attempt them the next time and try to do them better? What's your character like? What's your mindset like? I ask that question all the time, and in all honesty, that really helps me separate the kind of person that I would want to personally work with, and probably not.
Let me ask you this question in a fun way for that question, the
Hmm.
failure question, right? I say that when it comes to behavioral interviews or situational based interviews, there are 5 to 8 buckets from which questions come: leadership, teamwork, challenges, successes, failures.
Right.
And if you want to go beyond that, it is pushback, conflict, and then it becomes more domain specific, which is, if it's a product manager, then it is about, okay, how much AI are you using, etc., etc.
Hmm.
In the and this failure bucket, right? So I'll do ask this question in a fun way: thumbs up or thumbs down? They, in the failure question, they give an answer that sounds like a failure, but they are actually just talking about a strength in a way. Thumbs up or thumbs down on that?
I would say
You know
thumbs down.
how people say, you know how people say, oh, I'm a perfectionist or something like that.
I would say thumbs down because just like, and this could be very biased upon the kind of responses which I have gotten. Um, in all honesty, I have had people be really transparent with me that, hey, this was a failure, and I really wasn't able to overcome that. And just because of probably that honesty, we hired that person as well, because it is a question which really like touches something in you, and like different people answer that in different ways depending upon their own personality types. But yeah, probably based upon my limited experience, I'll say a thumbs down to that. No doubt I have had enough number of people uh, like fake that question, like fake the story that they were saying to me. You can easily make that out, and that's a big no. Never do that. The hiring manager has taken like probably 50, 60 interviews. They know when someone is faking or not. But yeah, in my experience, that would be a thumbs down.
Perfect. I think, yeah, similarly, I've taken so many interviews now that at some, I can ask you the tell me about yourself question, and I can understand how much work has gone behind preparing for this particular interview or any particular interview. And then
Hmm.
the more you ask questions, it is very easy to see whether the person has specific experiences and specific stories from their past,
Hmm.
or if they're just using generic language out there.
Hmm.
So, I want to ask you an important question here. Out of the entire application pool that you had, and you, let me ask that question. If you are comfortable sharing numbers, please share them. I would love to know how much percentage of people from that pool actually went into the screening. Like how many people were screened? Percentage of people. We can
Um,
avoid the absolute numbers.
are we excluding the internals out of this?
No, including everybody. So
Oh, okay.
how much ever application pool, how many were actually screened?
Hmm. Less than 2%, I would say.
Because the number on that side is
Right.
huge. Out of this 2%, how many were a technical fit for the role?
Hmm. Uh, Out of just that 2%, let's assume we did not have this number, but let's assume if we had 100 people, probably 20. Yeah, so
Okay.
20% of that.
How did the five people that you hired from everybody who was a technical fit, how did you choose between those people versus everybody who had the technical skills?
Hmm, great question. Let me give that some thought. Okay, first thing was that it was quite easily demonstrated in their resume itself. I always tell the people that I work with is that, hey, your resume is could be like a make or break thing for you. And obviously now we have ChatGPT, AI, and it is much more easier to do this. But if you can show clear impact on your resume itself, from an interview perspective, it actually decreases the level of difficult questions that I'll be asking to you, because you've already said everything over here on this one piece of paper. So like you're having a very clear, impactful, and like solid past experience, and like breakdown of problems as to what were the challenges that were solved over there, having them quantified, and then me seeing them on a piece of paper really helps a lot as compared to someone who's like very generic, not really clear as to what were the problems they solved, uh, probably solving the same problems in all the different kinds of experience that they have in their resume. So that was one. And yeah, secondly, in terms of technical acumen, uh, unfortunately everyone has pretty much the same skill set that you are hiring for, right? If you have four skills on your job description, everyone comes prepared for exactly those four skills. Now, how do you select which is the right one for this? Correct. So it again comes down to clarity. It again comes down to what we spoke about, that if we are testing someone and both of them have the same level of technical knowledge, the person who is more clear upon the kinds of question that they are solving, more clear in explaining to me about the problem that they are trying to solve, will definitely go with the latter, because if they can explain more clearly to me, they definitely have a much more clarity in their own mind as to what they are technical proficiency over there. So that's number two. And yeah, then definitely there could be credibility in your past experience and the kinds of companies you have worked with, so on and so forth.
We are getting a good question here, which is, or good comment here, which is I'm asking really tough questions. I think there's a level of comfort that I have with Sohan because we are friends. So I'm able to know that at least I can push him. He can always tell me no to answer any question, but I can always ask him because I think this is helpful for people who are on the other side of the table to understand that you a lot of effort goes into, I feel, getting past the technical rounds. That is important. I will not take away from that. But the real differentiator does not come from technical applicability. Once you are applicable from the technical side, you still need to overcome the remarkability factor to really get the job offer. And the remarkability comes from how strongly you position yourself as somebody who's made impact in the past and somebody who can solve problems for the company in the future.
Absolutely, you're right on point over there, Varun. And that's actually, if I was to say I hired five people, I if someone is directly jumping at this point of the of our session and they haven't really heard the last 50 minutes, I'll just say it really ties down to the kind of work that they have done in the past and the kinds of problems that they have done in the past and the impact that they have created through that. If they are able to explain that to me in the real lessons that they were able to do that, and if that thing really ties up with the kind of uh, skills that I am looking for, with the kind of person that we are looking for, you will have the job. So in an essence, having a very clear impact, being able to explain that to the hiring manager, and having a great match over there between what the hiring manager is looking and what you are demonstrating over there. If these three things align, uh, 9 out of 10 times you will have the job in your hand.
Great. Uh, this is excellent. I know that we have a few minutes, 8 minutes here. I want to know if you have some room to go over.
Oh, I
If
do.
not, no worries. I would love for anybody who is in the comment section to add questions. We have Sohan here. Recently, he's a hiring manager for data roles, data analyst, data scientist. So please ask your questions if that will be helpful for you. I think we have one question, which is what percentage of soft and technical skills play a big role in landing opportunities? I think we've talked about it a little bit, but maybe you can give another synopsis of it.
Absolutely. As far as in all honesty, it really depends. It really depends upon the kind of team that you are entering. Some hiring managers will have some bias to people who are much more technically proficient because that's their working style. So, if I was to answer this question, I would definitely say in the first interview that you have with a hiring manager, you should be really good at gauging what kind of a person that I am interviewing for. If you are able to correctly gauge that person and demonstrate what they need from you, you really make your job easier in actually getting the job. So that would be firstly my advice on this. And if I was to give a generic answer, probably 60-40 would be the ratio that is out there in the industry. Yeah, that would be my take on this.
That's an excellent nuance, like understanding what kind of filters is the person using to judge people. How would you, like knowing what you know now, what would you ask? What would you interpret from how they are asking? Give me some example or questions that you would ask to gauge that.
Um, okay. Again, this will be a two-parter, but if you are interviewing me, Varun, today, I would keep a very. I would not just hear you, but really put a lot of effort into listening. Okay, what did Varun mean when he was asking me a question about? Let's dive deeper into like how do you interview people or how do you select the right candidate? What did he mean by that? If he was asking me a question on SQL, I would really look for how much emphasis did he really put on SQL, and what kind of a candidate is he looking for. So just being really just being a very good observer helps a lot personally. But if I was to really give a hack over here, and this is what I did personally every single time, uh, I would say interview the interviewer. Every single interview, I first go ahead even before the interview. I go through the person's LinkedIn profile, see their years of experience, what kind of companies that they have worked for, what kind of roles have they worked for. If I am interviewing with a technical manager, my question to that person would be more on a day-to-day role-based basis. But if I am being interviewed by a director level or a VP level person, my question would be more about culture and how do you manage people and what is something that really motivates you, and how do you go ahead with your job, and what is something of a problem that you are trying to solve for the organization. So those are the things that I really come prepared with from my end, and once based upon their own answer, that really gives me a lot of clarity as to the kind of person that I'm interviewing over here, and that sets the tone for the next 5 interviews that I'll be doing with this team. So yeah, having your own set of questions prepared is a big hack, and I would advise that to do for everybody. And just one quick note on that would be, it really gives the interviewer the impression of that, hey, this is someone that I would really want to work on. Let's assume be in their own shoes, right? They are taking interviews left, right, and center. They are already having a busy day at work. They are spending 7 hours doing their own job. They are spending a couple of hours interviewing candidates, and they are only listening to people. If you really give them the opportunity to speak, if you really give them the opportunity to just communicate with you and communicate very openly, it could really shift the tables over there. So I would highly recommend people to ask questions to interviewers.
I want to paraphrase what you said because you said amazing things, so on. So I want to just
Hmm.
summarize everything.
Please.
You said that you need to be a good listener to kind of understand where that person is coming from. You want to, the hack you have is that you are interviewing them. So what does that mean? You are first doing the pre-interview work, which is going through their LinkedIn profile, see what kind of a career they've had, how do they lean in what they are talking about, and
Hmm.
then you have questions ready based on the type of person there is. If it's a technical manager, a peer, a data skip leader, you're basically having a different set of questions,
Right.
and that is perfect because I also tell people that you have leverage. If you are a good candidate, you have leverage in the system as well. I know a lot of times candidates don't feel that,
Hmm.
especially if candidates are immigrants. They don't feel that, even they feel that even worse, that they don't have leverage in the system. But
Hmm.
you have the leverage and you can showcase that leverage by asking people questions.
Hmm.
I'm going to continue on because there are so many amazing questions coming through.
Let's
I
go
think
for.
we have, we, here's a question about filtering.
Hmm.
How does filtering happen? Are companies looking for keywords? Uh, Out of 100 resumes, how did two resumes reach your table, or how did you ask two resumes to be interviewed?
Hmm. Okay, there are definitely multiple layers where this happens. Unfortunately, again, being generic, and I hate doing this, but in most cases the HR will recommend profiles to you, and the HR might be doing this based upon the input that they get from you. Okay, these are the skill sets, this is the kind of person, and years of experience, probably location for that matter as well. So they will put their own filters in their candidate hiring system, and based upon that they just give you something at a very high level. But when for example, 20 resumes are coming to the hiring manager, the first thing that the hiring manager will go and see, at least this is what I did, is looking at the skill section in your resume and seeing, hey, is this matching with what I have? If that is something, even if a person has 20 years of experience and they have a different tech stack or a different skill set, they really can't help me a lot in my team and in the role that we are hiring them for. So number one thing is that, hey, do they have the correct skill set? Once they do, then it again boils down to the level of impact that you have, the clarity that you explain that with, and does that tie back to the kind of person that you are hiring for, and like the role basically that you are trying to fill over here, does that overlap with what you are looking for? And if there is a great overlap, yeah, you will be. I can confidently say that you will be called for an interview if those things match over there.
So, and I actually have a follow-up to that. We haven't really talked about portfolios, right? There is a lot
Oh,
of talk about data portfolios, about GitHub profiles.
of
Where
course.
do all of that come into the equation?
No, absolutely. You made a great point over there, Varun. We really missed talking about that point. If I was hiring someone back in 2017, 2016, maybe, I wouldn't give a lot of emphasis on portfolio. But because like, you could really make out from the resume that, hey, this is a great candidate, and so on and so forth, based upon the language and the impact that they have. But right now, unfortunately, with the oversaturation in the market, I'm not really blaming AI for this, but candidates are so damn good that you really can't discern that, hey, is this better than this, or should I go ahead with candidate B or C? So you really have to look at the kind of work that they are doing, the kind of practical projects that they have built, probably as part of their coursework or their previous project, something that they do from 5 to 9 or something. But yeah, having a solid portfolio, especially in technical roles, in data roles, helps a lot. If I was to go into the job market tomorrow and applying for a data analyst or a data scientist role, I would go ready with at least 8 to 12 portfolio projects, and that will give you a much more bigger leverage, because there is still time. I don't think there would be a time where AI can generate all of those portfolio projects for you, but at least there are a year and a half that you have that gap. But most of the candidates that we see coming our way, they don't really have a solid portfolio, and if they do, that can really add a lot of leverage on your plate. So that's a big plus.
So it's a differentiator where
Big
if you physically cannot interview like thousands of people, so sometimes you are losing out by not getting interviewed just because you didn't have additional data points that this
plus.
recruiter or hiring manager could see what kind of value you bring to the table. So these are basically you giving yourself more chances to be called for an interview. And
Mm.
actually, what I have seen with my mentees is that just the process of making a portfolio and communicating that portfolio in a very scannable, easy way helps them also get better at clarity in communication and then in the interview process.
Of course, and most importantly, Varun, even yeah, the communication part improves so much by being able to explain that, and also at the very same time, they are building their own tech stack as well, right? They are building a portfolio from scratch. They are doing projects. Even if, for example, someone I was interviewing was great at SQL, but kind of average at Power BI, and they have 4 portfolio projects in Power BI, they just jumped at least a couple of ladders over there with their own proficiency in that tool. So a big plus to have portfolios in this market.
Awesome. We have Garv asking about any possibility of a recording or summary of the session. This session recording will be on LinkedIn as well as YouTube, so you can go and just view. You can always go into events and on LinkedIn on my profile, and you'll get a session recording for this, or you can go on Beyond the Beyond Grad channel or Varun Gandhi. Find me on YouTube, and you can find that there. Here's another question, Sohan, which is this is an interesting one. Would you prefer a technical wizard or an easy to work with guy? How do managers differentiate or evaluate people?
again, like a very from a very personal perspective, I have a bias for people who are easy to work with and can communicate well, can really problem solve. And when I'm talking about easy to work with, I'm not just talking about are they a good communicator. The problem solving mindset is the biggest thing that I'm looking for, because uh, you get challenges which are so different in the industry as compared to the schoolwork or the coursework that you do. You need a very strong problem solver, and most importantly, you need a problem solver who can work in a crunch situation. So that is what we are looking for. And yeah, my personal bias would be I would give that a 50-50 leverage over there. That someone who's easy to work with guy, definitely a big plus. And obviously, they should firstly overcome the technical challenges. But I've seen people where that ratio drops probably 70% technical, 30% easy to work with, even 80% technical and 20% easy to work with. But it really depends upon the personality of the hiring manager, because I feel in leadership, it just bottles down from the VP, director, manager, and the team. The VP's culture will be bottled down directly to the junior most analysts on within that organization. So it really depends upon the kind of people that you're working
Sometimes what I notice as well from my 14 years in the automotive industry is that at some point there is not a lot of difference between the technical skills.
with. Hmm.
That's when the easy to work with just kind of shoots up, the value of it shoots up, because I'm not really losing out on technical acumen. Like if there is a technical wizard, I would only be like, okay, what kind of a role is this? How much interpersonal interface is going to be with other teams within my organization? All of
Right.
those things went into my mind when I was thinking about that factor.
Absolutely. And just to add on to that, Varun, someone that you are able to like build, like productively work with, it just brings the team's output a notch higher as compared to if like there is not a lot of comfort within the people who are working together. No matter they are like geniuses within their own realm, but if they can't combine that genius, it actually is a disadvantage to the final output over there as well. So yeah, being able to work with is a big plus.
Awesome. I will take just a couple more questions and
Yeah,
then we'll wrap up.
sure.
Harsh asks, what does the hiring process for an entry level or fresh graduate data analyst look like?
Great question, Harsh. Yeah, firstly, wishing you all the best for any upcoming interviews that you may be having. I'll just share my own experience over here. When I joined my current organization as an analyst, yeah, there are multiple interviews. They could be in this sequence, or probably the sequence can definitely differ depending upon the organization that you're interviewing for. But the first one remains the same, where there is a HR person reaching out to you, and that person would be doing like what we discussed in this webinar as well. That are their requirements matching with what they are interviewing for? So compensation, location, for international students, visa type, so on and so forth, technical skills, years of experience, all of that. And yeah, based upon that, if there is a green light for all of those questions, you move ahead to the hiring manager round, where the hiring manager will just do a overall analysis of the candidate that is coming their way. It could be I haven't seen technical questions being asked a lot. There have been cases, but probably like 2 or 3 times. But yeah, initial round hiring manager will just do an overall analysis, test all of those things that we spoke about: technical acumen, easy to work with, character, cultural fit, so on and so forth. Once that is done, probably the next round would be a technical round, where it could be the hiring manager, it could be with another senior person who's technically profound within that team. So they would be testing you based upon the technical requirements of that role. There could be a follow-up technical round, or there could be probably like a cultural fit round with a director, level, like basically your hiring manager's manager. So that can be the fourth round of interview over there. And something which is recently becoming a trend in the hiring processes that I've seen is panel interviews. They could either be technical, like this probably is the last most round in your hiring process, but it will be a panel interview where it could be technical depending upon the technical requirement of the role, and this applies to an entry level role as well. And if not, it could be a cultural panel based interview where the team that you will be joining will be interviewing you. And this was actually the case in my own hiring experience as well. So 5 rounds: HR, hiring manager, technical, follow up technical, probably cultural, and panel interview at the end. So 5 or 6 rounds of interview you can expect.
That is amazing, how you kind of laid that out there. What I would also add to this is think about different ways of applying also for entry level positions. Like specifically for entry level positions, there are more unique opportunities you have to kind of find jobs. So, yes, there is always the online application and referrals and all that method, which is perfect. But career fairs work well. I know there is all, if you are an immigrant, there's an immigration question that's asked and that can disqualify you. That is the truth of the matter right now in this current scenario. But career fairs are opportunities. You can go to conferences nearby. Those are opportunities. I was part of a Formula SAE team. That was, we built a racing car and we went to a racing competition. I was able to work with a lot of companies as sponsors, and I was also at the event where you meet other professionals from the industry. So that's another place. So you can join clubs, specific clubs at your organization. You can also ask your professors for help. Like if you have a really good relationship, let's say you scored really well in that in their course, you kind of get to use that a little bit to see if they will be happy to make some introduction. So Sohan talked about all the interview rounds. Just know that on the entry level side, you are actually have the benefit, a little bit more benefit of the ways that you can get jobs as well. By the way, there's a funny comment here. Uh, Madan is the one who is
Oh,
asking questions and it's coming up as LinkedIn user. Nice to see you, Madan, and hopefully have you as well in the same hot seat as Sohan is in right now in the future. That would be cool. Here's a final question for you, Sohan, which is
sure.
given the current immigration scenario, any special tips for international students to stand out during applying?
Hmm. Uh, yeah, there could be multiple takes on this question. Whether it was some people I've seen that if you're applying for an internship, you can say that, hey, I don't need a sponsorship at this point of time, because during an internship you don't really need. So that could be something of a trend which I've seen other people do in the past. But in all honesty, Aishani, I'll give my take on this. Uh, and this is based upon my own personal experience as well, that try to be honest in the kind of immigration situation that you are in, the kind of visa that you are currently on, and basically what you need from the company going forward. Because even if you get hired and you spend 2 months, 5 to 6 rounds of interviews, and all of this hard work applying for a job, and God forbid at a later stage, if there is a conflict over there, you not only lose the opportunity but lose all of your hard work that you spent, and opportunities that you did not apply for elsewhere, did not interview elsewhere. So uh, just as a honesty, I would definitely say be completely honest from the starting point. It will help you like find the correct opportunities, and there are plenty. No matter the situation, circumstances, there are so many organizations that are hiring international students. And Ashani, as a personal experience, I would say, and not talking about me over here, but thousands and thousands of people that I've met, communicated, seen online in the past, or just a few close friends that I've had as well, all being international students. Uh, International students are one of the hardest category of hardworking people. out there. So if you are an international student, that's actually an advantage for you because it just differentiates you in your character, in your work, in your hard work and routine, and so on and so forth. So I would say congrats if you're an international student, and just keep applying. The current opportunity will definitely find you sooner or later.
Awesome. That's an amazing positive note. And for people who are only following Sohan or me and don't know him beyond the social media presence, Sohan is like a light of positivity for me. So if I ever feel like, okay, I need some positivity in my life, and even though I'm a very positive guy, this is the guy I call. So I would highly recommend people follow him if you aren't. Awesome.
Uh,
What I'm gonna do, because we could talk. Okay, I'm gonna let you speak. Okay.
Yeah, before we end, Varun, and how can I let you go away without a question? I know we are at time, so we'll make this quick. But I have a question for you as well, and
Yeah.
very simple, very straightforward. Uh, th- this could be related to hiring, or even if not, I know you are a great communicator and a person who builds a great network around himself as well. So it's your choice. You can depend. You can convey the final answer in any way you want. But if you want to surround yourself with a specific person, in whatever proximity it may be, just a casual connection, a close connection, so on and so forth, or someone that you want to work with, who has been working with you in the past in your previous roles, what is something that you look for in that person? What is probably one or two skills or an X factor that you're like, hey, I really want to surround myself with this person?
Okay. By the way, we do have 4 or 5 rapid fire questions for you before we end. But
Okay.
I'll come to this question, which is how do I feel that I want to surround myself with this person? Like, what do I see in people? I think a lot of it is instinctual, so I don't know how to define that.
Mhm.
But if I have to see the type of people that I have tried to build a relationship with, is somebody who's doing something hard, and I see them doing something hard for a consistent period of time.
Mhm.
That is one of the most attractive qualities for me as somebody I want to connect with or at least know more. And one specific example can be how I try to connect with a lot of creators who write with original thought and are doing this for a while, like 2 3 months, and I keep seeing their name, and then I see their content, and I'm like, yeah, okay, these are interesting. This is an interesting person. So that's the initial, and then the after that is just how easy the communication is, whether it's in a coffee chat. After that, if we are chatting, how easy is the communication? Do I feel like the other person has bandwidth for me and I have bandwidth for them? That determines organically how close or how deeper that relationship goes. So that would be how I would put it.
That's amazing, and yeah, it definitely adds so much value to your life if there is a specific person like that. So, great answer, I would say.
Huge value. The best thing that happened to me from writing on LinkedIn is meeting people like you and the amazing friends that we've had. Now I
Mm.
want people to know a little bit more about you. This is very quick, very short,
Okay,
rapid fire.
go for
This
it.
won't be like a Karan Johar rapid
Ah,
fire round.
I
This is
was,
much simpler, much
I was
simpler
wishing
than
it
that.
would. Just kidding.
Uh, want people to know more about you outside of data.
Of course.
So, favorite movie? I know that,
Oh,
but people might not.
Tamasha. I really feel that changed the like. Just I have been growing up with Ranbir Kapoor movies. Whether it was the first film that was a big flop, but yeah, up until his last movie. So I have a streak of probably seeing 90-95% of his movies in theater. But when I saw Tamasha, it really sparked something within me, and I can definitely say that not just me, but thousands and millions of people out there. But yeah, Tamasha, and it wasn't supposed to be a long answer, a rapid fire, but yeah,
It's
that's
all good. My favorite Ranbir Kapoor movie is Wake Up Sid.
Hmm.
Similar theme, right? Growing up, essentially being more responsible. Your go-to cuisine when you want to go out and eat.
Indo-Chinese.
Wow,
Yeah,
this is a you Yudi. I was on call. We did a live session with Yudi yesterday.
right.
He said the same thing. That's the same answer I will have as well.
Awesome.
Cool.
Hmm.
I know you like reading books. What is the one book that has made the biggest impact on you?
I'm just hoping that I can find it very close to me. But yeah, it would be Bhagavad Gita. It had the biggest impact for me. I remember very clearly that I first read it in COVID. Uh, yeah, did not have a lot to do like a lot of people, but I just came across that book, and instead of me finding that book, I really believe that it found me. And there are certain things which I read in that book which have really shaped the direction of my life and where I'm heading right now. So Bhagavad Gita would be that one.
Very cool. I found myself in a little bit of a slump this morning, and chapter three woke me up. So,
Best thing
uh,
ever.
it's an amazing book. Okay, final question for you. I want you to give viewers who are viewing this live or maybe viewing this at a later time, I
Mm-hmm.
want you to give them a challenge
Hmm.
that they can do within couple of hours this week to get better at the topic that we've been talking about, which is getting hired for data roles. What is a challenge that they can do this week? They'll be able to complete it within 2 hours. And I want you guys to, if you do the challenge, get back to me and Sohan. We would love to champion you on. So, what would that challenge be?
That's a great question, firstly, Varun. I would say, yeah, just to begin with, be utterly honest as to just take a piece of paper. Be utterly honest as to what's your level of proficiency in, let's say, four different data skills. It could be SQL, Tableau, Python, Power BI, so on and so forth. And with that utterly honest like statement, just make, for example, if it is SQL, go to the lead code top 50. You can't probably solve all 50 questions in a couple of hours, but probably solve 10 and see, hey, where am I now as compared to a couple of hours ago? And if that is a thing that really helped you, keep building from there. Come back to that every week, solve one thing that can really help you upskill. And yeah, probably not the answer for the 2 hour question, but maybe come back to 2 months later and do this every week and just write at the end of those 2 months how you compare from where you started. Be utterly honest with your description of your own skill sets, that hey, I leveled up in SQL, I leveled up in Power BI, in Python, so on and so forth, and this is where I am at right now. So yeah, probably for a 2 hour thing, be utterly honest, do analysis of your own self, like create a like then practice, and then create a plan for the next 2 months, and then come back to that 2 months later.
Wow, awesome. Yeah, see where the gaps are and how you want to fill those gaps going forward.
Absolutely.
Awesome. On that note, we're just going to conclude this session. Thank you so much for the wonderful questions. And we'll come back again pretty soon with another Beyond Grad Show session. And we will definitely have so on in the future as well. So looking forward to having you on again, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Varun. To all of the people who are watching us right now, I just want to say that this guy is one of the best people that I know personally and have the fortune of knowing. But yeah, this show that you're doing, Varun, I just want to say that God bless you and the show, because I have been knowing you for quite a while now, and the way that you communicate and how curious you are, and like how you can actually ask the right questions, it can really impact so many people out there. And this was one of my best and most easiest interviews that I have ever done. And I'm sure that resonates with the people out there as well. So thank you for definitely doing this for your own self. And it is a great boost for yourself. And for the people out there, this is like a blessing. So thank you for doing this. I'm so happy. And yeah, we'll chat soon on the Beyond Grad Show.
Thank you, right back at you, and thank you for cheerleading this internally to kind of get me to ship it.
Of course, always, man.